It's the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and it's time for us now to have a look at Hume Netball and how things went in round 10 of matches last week. We'll preview round 11 as well. Joining me on the line, Carla Fletcher is back. Hello, Carla. How are you?
Hi, Jason. How are you going?
Going well, thank you. Some very interesting matches last weekend, some very big scores, some big margins and some close ones as well. Let's have a look at the Billabong Crows taking on Lockhart in one of the games we thought would be one of the matches of the round. Well, Lockhart got hold of the Crows girls here, 60-42, a big 18-goal win.
Yes, it was a huge game. It was a tough battle on the court last Saturday and took a slow second quarter, enabled the Lockhart girls to capitalise on some errors by the Crows, and Lockhart took a convincing lead, which was just too hard for the Crows to win back. The Crows defenders had a really tough job, and they were missing one of their key players in Harriet Simpson. But the best players for the Crows were Maddie Tubis, Brooke Davies and Paige Maloney. And for Lockhart, coach Jemima Norbury, she really led the way in defence and really got the girls going. And Gary Ruby Booker sunk some great goals in the goal circle as goal attack. So it was an awesome win by the Lockhart girls.
Well done to Lockhart. Next match for us to look at, Brock Burham, 45. Too good for Henty, 27 in the end.
Yeah, BB Saints, they had another great win on the weekend against Henty. Unfortunately, a game that should have probably been a little bit closer saw Henty lose by over 20 goals due to a growing list of injuries and girls playing out of their grade. BB Saints played their role really extremely well, making it hard for Henty to attack, and Michaela Hawkins came away with the Players' Player for the game, and awards for Henty were Kristen Hobart and Kelsey Lever.
All right, well done to them. Holbrook took on CDHBU. Big win for Holbrook. 18 goals, too good for CDHBU, 49-31.
Yeah, another good win from the girls from Holbrook, and they had to play some really strong defensive pressure in the first quarter, which set them up for a really good scoring game at the end. So Holbrook will keep on looking for some wins in the next few rounds.
How Long had a very good win over the bottom side, Colcan, 83-25. Wow, that's a big win.
Yeah, a great win for How Long, and they were really pleased with their performance for the first half of the game. And it was the first time in a few weeks that that How Long had their full team together. And Emma was really pleased with how the girls put in a really good defensive and offensive performance. Some best players for How Long were Georgina McLeod and April Lampy.
Very good. We move on now and having a look at this game as well. They doubled the score of the Murray Magpies, did the Canola Farmers of Osborne, 52-26, a big win for them.
Yeah, but Murray Magpies put in some great defensive pressure on Osborne, and it's the best that Osborne has seen all year. So they really worked hard for the game for the whole entire game. The first two quarters were fairly tight. However, Osborne just lifted their energy and increased their lead, finishing off with a 23-goal win. And Sarah Schneider, again, for her tremendous effort and intercepts, and Karen Hugo for a solid effort in the shooting end, won the awards for Osborne, with Hannah Azai and Annabelle Lee taking home awards for the Magpies.
Excellent. So that leaves us with what was the match of the round in the end. Gindera, we picked this would be a tight one. They took on Randall Bundry Waller, and it was Gindera bouncing back for a big win, keeps them firmly in the top two on the ladder. The Giants vulnerable now in sixth spot, but very good win for Gindera.
Yes, this was a really hard-fought game and very skillful and exciting for everyone to watch. Unfortunately, the Giants went down by 6 goals in the first quarter, which ended up costing them the game. And the next 3 quarters were fairly close, with both teams playing a really high standard of netball. And Ginger's very experienced shooter, Charlotte Sutcliffe, was really hard to beat with her many accurate long shots. The Giants awards went to goal shooter Mel McClelland and Jess Cotter again, who had another great game in goal defence. And Shauna Holland in defence, and shooter Charlotte Sutcliffe were Ginger's best players.
Okay. That leads us to round 11 of matches, and gee whiz, there are some big clashes coming up this weekend Positions on the ladder are all important. There are also some pretty clear-cut ones, although it appears that way on paper at least. For example, CDHBU, who have dropped to 10th on the ladder. Incredible fall for them. Taking on the Billabong Crows, who will be grumpy after a fairly disappointing loss last week. You'd think the Crows would win that.
Yes, Crows should be looking forward to returning to the winners list this week against CDHBU, and they should come away with the 4 points quite convincingly, I think.
Yep, you'd think so. The old-fashioned top versus bottom clash. Osborne away from home against Culcan at Culcan. That won't help the bottom side. They haven't won yet. They're not going to start this week against the undefeated Osborne.
No, unfortunately, Culcan will be up against top of the ladder Osborne, and Osborne will be way too strong for Culcan this week.
Henty have only saluted once this year. They're taking on Holbrook at Henty. Holbrook are sort of knocking on the door now of the top six. They're a couple of games back, so plenty to play for Holbrook. They should win this.
Yeah, and it should be quite a good game. Holbrook have had some really good wins in the last few weeks, and depending on Henty's injury list, will depend on the outcome of the game. But going on last week's performance, I think Holbrook will be wanting to back up their wins from last week.
Now it gets interesting. The last three games here could all take equal billing as the match of the round. Jindera, they're at home this week to How Long, and this is going to be one of the games of the season. Second versus fifth on the ladder. How Long are in excellent form. It's the old-fashioned 8-point game between these two here.
Yes, and it's a great matchup between Alan Harbright for How Long and Shona Holland, Jindera's goalkeeper. So it'll be a really good contest there, and both teams are coming off some consistent wins in the past few weeks, and I think it'll be anyone's game. It just depends on who composes themselves and capitalises on any turnovers during the game. But I think Jindera might take the 4 points.
I think you're right. Lockhart in really good form at the moment. The Giants, Randall Bundry Waller, they need to get back on the winners list, but I don't think this is the game for them. Lockhart have got too much to play for at the moment and should win.
Yes, they should win, just depending on how the game goes, but it'll be a tough game for both teams. If Lockhart can play like they did last weekend, they should take home the points, but, you never underestimate Randall Bundry Waller. That's why they're up there in the top six, so fingers crossed.
Indeed. And the last match is two teams who are knocking on the door of a finals berth or a top six position. The Murray Magpies at home at Lavington to Brock Burham. And looking at the ladder here, Brock Burham could even, they'd have to win by plenty, but at the end of the round, it's possible they could sneak into the top six. But either way, it's a must-win game for both of these sides if they want to play finals.
Yes, it's a very competitive game for both clubs, and they'll have to be playing their best this weekend to take the 4 points. But Murray Magpies' form has been improving over the last few weeks, and I think they might account for Brock Burham on the weekend.
All right. That's where we'll leave it. Good luck to everyone in Hume Netball hitting the courts this weekend. Carla, all the best to you. Look forward to catching up with you next week to find out how it all went.
Yep. Thanks, Jason.